Hello, welcome to Fiber Trek. My name is Sarah. It's been a really, really long time, and I'm so glad that you're here. You are most welcome. Thank you for joining me. I am going to be talking a little bit about my knitting because there's not much knitting. You may have seen that there was also a sewing video posted, fingers crossed. If not, ignore that comment, disregard. Because most of the summer has been spent sewing and stitching. So here I am, I'm back. I'm so happy it's fall, and I've talked about that before, kind of my energetic preference for fall and winter, and I'm here on the pond in northern Maine and really enjoying the seasonality of the migratory birds. We had a loon chick hatch this year on our pond. Fingers crossed that they'll fledge successfully, and can see him out there practicing his flight. And they migrate to the coast. So, yeah, so I really don't have that much to talk about today. I am going to speak a little bit about some thoughts I've had about the vlog and kind of where I'm going, and there's been a shift, and I'm just trying to navigate that and understand, well, what is it that I really want to do, and you know, does this, what I'm doing, really add value? And, you know, so that's just some thought. And I guess since we're already there, I'll give you the impetus for those, for that work, which is obviously comes from Women Who Run with the Wolves. And I finally finished the book this past spring. I mean, I've always been reading it here and there and picking up different pieces, and but you know, I've read the final chapters, and this isn't a book that I've picked up and read cover to cover. It's more of like a in and out, and so when I got to this section, this particular passage really resonated with me and where I am, and I'll share it with you. It's from her last chapter 15, Shadowing, Canto Hunda, the Deep Song. When we think of reclamation, it may bring to mind bulldozers or carpenters, the restoration of an old structure, and that is the modern usage of the word. However, the older meaning is this. The word reclamation is derived from the Old French réclamer, meaning to call back the hawk which has been let fly. To cause something of the wild to return when it is called. It is therefore by its meaning an excellent word for us. We are using the voices of our minds, our lives, and our souls to call back intuition, imagination, to call back the wild woman, and she comes. So it's really that concept of réclamer, that calling back the wild, calling back the hawk, and you know, this, and the craft, you know. So I remember a time before podcasts and before Ravelry, and I had to get the magazine to get the pattern, and that very satisfying kind of silence around the work that I was doing, and trying to find a way to balance and look for that now, which was that's probably where I have been. So one of the things is thinking a little bit more about writing and using the blog. And I've talked to a couple friends about this and creating more discipline about my writing, because I used to write. And so I just feel a bit lax, and I just feel like, okay, I knit another sweater, but so I don't know, just maybe deepening my experience, my personal experience. And if you want to share in that, then that's wonderful. But I think moving a little bit out of the mainstream YouTube space and just putting it on my own blog, and Clarissa talks about the fireside, and just moving that into my fireside. And if you want to come join me here for some stories, you're most welcome to do that, and share your stories as well. So that's something I've been thinking, so most likely you're going to find the videos over at fibertrek.wordpress.com. And the best way to do it is to sign up for the newsletter or the subscription, and then you just get an email. And there'll be probably writing there and the videos. It will be my sewing, and any events or craft retreats that I'm doing will be there. I also have a website where you can find information about my craft retreats, but I haven't figured out how to marry these two things together, and I just don't have the patience or the financial interest in making that happen right now. So, but there'll be links to both sites so you can get all the information that you need. But there's a bit of that pulling back as I call back. What is it really that's here that I want to work on, and minimize the distractions of the mainstream, and maybe exercise a little bit more power over that media piece. So that being said, I hope that you stick with me. I understand the convenience of these other social media outlets, but that's okay too, because yeah, it'll be there when you're ready or not. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, and you can chew on that for your own self, and then you'll know where I am if you'd like to keep up with me. So that being said, let's see what we've got going on. Well, I've been knitting on the Lovage. I know, I'm still knitting on the Lovage. I was knitting on this last time I think I recorded. This is part of the Wallen Along that Emily of Fibertown, Sarah of Yarns at Yinhu, and Corinne of the Woolly Thistle are all working on with me. And I think there's going to be prizes, and talk a little bit about that. So here's my Lovage. I knit this in Jamieson and Smith. It's basically a mirror image of my friend Corinne's, because I said I want the exact same colors that you use, because I just didn't want to take the time to pick them out on the monitor, the screen monitor. And I loved her sweater, and I had, so I'm still working on the sleeve, and I knit this top down. It's written bottom up. I knit it top down. I reverse engineered it. I was quite chuffed with myself for doing that. And you can see, I don't know, I did something funky right there. And then I made up my own decreases for the arms. So I was a little bit cavalier about the arms, and but you can't tell when it's on, and I'm happy with it. And so my goal is to finish this before Rhinebeck, because that was the deadline, and I think I'll get there. So anyway, my contribution to this knit along is I'm not going to be giving prizes away. I'm instead going to be donating $25 for 2 people. We'll draw them from the hashtag or the Ravelry group, which I think is on Emily and Sarah and Corinne's. And I'll donate $25 to your choice from the following 2 charities. So I picked the Trayvon Martin Foundation, which I've got their mission right here, just so you're aware of them, if this is of interest to you. It's a nonprofit organization whose main purpose is to provide emotional and financial support to families who have lost a child to gun violence. And our goal is to shift the conversation from intervention to reform. Our programs strengthen families through leadership, support, and guidance, and counseling. And it's a really interesting foundation. They have lots of different programs that they do for mothers, for fathers, scholarship funds, and yeah, so this felt kind of a timely investment of money, and at this point in the American political climate, and I found the Trayvon Martin Foundation through Black Lives Matter, and I really liked the work that they were doing, and that their target population. So the other charity that I'll be donating to is the Greater Androscoggin Humane Society, which is my local animal shelter, and I'm sponsoring a kennel there, and I am also going to sponsor an animal, and so the money will go right towards that. So you guys can pick whichever one you want, and that will be my contribution to the Marie Wallen Along. And yeah, so that's that. I've also been knitting on the Underwing Mitts by Erica Huser. I'm knitting these out of the Orkney Fur's Nest yarn that just came back, and I'm really excited. I've finished one. So these colors are Glanza, Clock Drama, The brown is Glanza, and the white I'm calling Gannet, which is a seabird that's predominantly white. It's got some yellow and black on the eyes. And the orange that you see, and I'll show you these, is Hammer, which is a croft name on Ferry, which is where the sheep live. It's a small island off the coast of Edie in the Orkney archipelago. So I did that one. I'm working on my second, and these knit up so quick, and I'm really enjoying them. So, and I really wanted a sample that could be used in the, so people could see what that yarn looks like knit up. I think I came back with about 196 skeins, and I will have that for sale at the Millinocket Wool Scout Retreat. That's in October 31st to November 3rd. At the New England Outdoor Center. There's more information regarding that retreat at the New England Outdoor Center website page. And then I will put it up online, very soft release, I think. And I'm not very adept or efficient at, having a website and inventory it. You can order it online, and so usually it just ends up being like, send me an email if you're interested. But I'll talk a little bit about that in the dyeing process when I finish talking about my knitting. I know this is pink, can you believe it? But this is what happens when you have a niece who loves princesses, unicorns, and sparkly stuff. I want a pink sweater, Auntie Sarah. Unlike my nephew who's like, I want a gray sweater, Auntie Sarah. So I picked the Rauma, which I ordered from the Woolly Thistle, and she gets to pick the color. So here it is. And I think this is, I don't know. Yeah, it's the Strict Garn. So I think it's going to work out great. It's 3 plies. I'm really happily knitting with it, even though it's pink. And sometimes I look down and I can't believe it's my knitting. But yeah, so I'm knitting on that. I've got some air travel I'll be doing in a little bit, and I think that will be perfect for the airplane. Excuse me. And that's really it. I did knit a stuffy for my nephew, which I don't have. You may have seen a photograph of it on Instagram. I knit an otter, and I was guilted into it by this, sweet little children who were like, but we love it, Auntie Sarah. And I had to do intarsia, and I had to seam on little tiny ears and little tiny feet, and I have to knit another one. And my niece would like it to be pink, but I told her pink sweater, brown otter. So hopefully she'll still hold it near and dear to her heart, even though it's not pink. So I did mention the Orkney yarn, and I'll just show you what I came up with for colors. And I'm missing one, which is the orange. So my friend Janie Estelle kind of guided and helped with these colors, and this was my first real foray into dyeing. I did natural dyeing when I was a farm educator a long time ago. And so I really needed some support, and she was there, and this is what we got. So I kind of based this on a very moody palette when it's kind of overcast and the colors are really punched. So the first one I've got, this is Belle, as in Heather Bell. I really, really, really love this pink. I don't know why, I just really love it. And then this is Koi, which is a Norse word for enclosed field. And then Warness, which is my blue. Warness is a current, a pretty strong current where the North Atlantic meets the North Sea, and it's kind of known for its tidal pull, and it's a real, I think it's a geographically significant current in the oceanic world. Then I've got Glanza, which is my ode to peat brown. It's kind of a purpley tonal brown, and I love these two together. I'm thinking about knitting a Rivington cowl by Kirsten Kapoor. Out of these two, I have it in like a dusty blue and a gray. But I also love it with the Warness, so it's a really good neutral. The last color I have, and I'll get my mitts, is orange, as I mentioned. This one didn't seem to be that popular. I had it for sale at the Wool Scout retreat at Bradford Camp. And I really love it. It's like a real deep rust. You can see it here. So that's called Hammer, which is a, a small stone croft cottage. And it's kind of like a nod to the sandstone and the red stone that's quarried off of Edie. So anyway, those are the colors, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And I'm dyeing. I'm not very efficient at dyeing. I'm dyeing outside on a 2-burner stove, you know, a gas propane heat stove or burner, and you know, the rinsing and extra dye, and so it's just not an efficient, intuitive thing for me. So I'm continuing to dye a little bit here and there, and hopefully we'll have some of that ready for the retreat. So that's really exciting that that's come back. I did travel to Scotland this summer, and I did get more clip, so there will be another clip for 2019, and we'll see where we go from there. And what else? Oh, I visited Whistlebear Farm in my travels this summer with my friend Louise of Woolwork now. And we had a nice adventure. I felt like I was in a James Herriot novel. We had sausage rolls and took the bus, and we were walking through hedge road, old lanes, and found ourselves at Whistlebear. And I picked up, because I couldn't resist it, her Yevering Bell. And really, she had these in minis, and I really just picked them up more for stitching than anything, because it's a worsted spun, worsted prepped Wensleydale mohair, and so it has that luster and the strength to kind of, you know, be worked onto felt or fabric. And so I picked up these minis. You can see the shine on the, turn this one around, and I'll turn this one around. And I can show you, I've stitched with it and I'm really enjoying it. I'll show you what I've got. You can find out more about what I've been working on stitching wise on the blog, I hope. But here it is stitched. And so it makes a really beautiful mark. It's a little bit soft, but it's, and what I mean soft is kind of looks out of focus. It's just gentle stitching. It's not striking like the DMC. And if you're curious, I did finally do my moon. So this belt is east of the sun, west of the moon. And I still have a bunch of embellishment to do to it. So anyway, so I'm really, I really like the way that can be used in stitching. And I also picked up from her this Cheviot Blue, which is a 60% Whistlebear's Cheviot first shearing and 40% locally reared Blueface Leicester. And I picked up kind of 2 neutral colors, of course. But they were just beautiful, Moorland Mist and Woodland Fungi. So that's really it. I mean, I did Wool Scouts, that was fantastic, and I've got the retreat in November coming up, and in October, excuse me, and I'm going to work away on the blog and talk a little bit about my sewing, and yeah, I will keep you updated, and in the meantime, I guess I'll just bid you a fond farewell. So wherever you go, wherever you travel, may you return home safe with lots of soulful stash. I'll see you next time. Bye.